Hey guys, what's up? Mr. J313 here from Bro Gaming Official, and yes, I said Mr. J313. I am currently on T-Boss313's account. I'm on Brian's account because he has two characters that are level 20 that I don't have, and we kind of figured it'd be best if I jumped on his account to make these build guides so I could focus on other characters while he already had these at level 20. And first off, I kicked it off by going with the Turian Havoc Trooper, his favorite character, and now I see why it's his favorite. I did do some different builds than what he did, and I will be showing those off. I will actually have a separate video. I will link it down in the description for a different build guide, but I'm going to go ahead and start on this one, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Sorry if I sound kind of raspy or scratchy or something, guys. It's real late at night, and I'm tired as all hell, but I want to get these build guides out because I'm having a shitload of fun with this character. So we're naming this build guide the Bomber Turian Havoc Trooper, and as you can see why, I have the Nalden and the Falcon paired with the Havoc Trooper. And now, yes, I do have a negative 40% recharge speed, but that didn't even matter with this build. And I have the Thermal Clip Sword. For this build, it works best with Thermal Clip instead of the Juggernaut Shield, but let's jump over to skills real quick. Consumables. If you're going to use any consumables, I would purely use sniper rifle amps and AR amps to buff up the damage of your two weapons, but that's really all I would use. So let's jump right into it. Incinerate. Now, Brian has the Turian Havoc Trooper 6, so we don't have all of the skill points there, but I will go into that later. So as a 6 with these extra skill points, I went ahead and only put Incinerate into 2. I didn't really feel like it's that helpful for this build, but it's nice to have the extra damage versus armor, or just to wither down some of the bigger enemies. So we'll jump right into it. Turbocharge. This is an amazing ability, and it's just great. So you're going to go first 3, then bottom, and then top. Now, if you have the extra skill points, don't even worry about Incinerate. Drop it in to bottom for 6 on Turbocharge. That is so amazing to have, and it would make this build even better. But we're going to go with bottom for duration, because I feel like the duration is much more effective for this build other than recharge speed. And then we're going to go with top because this build is all about damage. You don't need the extra accuracy or stability like you will in the other builds. So you're going to go with damage and force on that. Now we're gonna go with flak cannon. This is a maxed out flak cannon. Now I can go into detail about this if you guys would like, and I probably will later in the video. It's actually a really underestimated ability if you spec it right. Go first 3 and then top on all of them. Yeah, I went top for the extra damage, damage versus armor, because it already has a negative 30% damage against armor. So this will really help with that. And then I went with top on 6 for the extra shrapnel explosions. That's going to give more shrapnel explosions and even more damage. It might not say more damage, but it will be doing more damage. But you could go with the shredder for damage over time. I mean, really, that's personal opinion, but I feel like the shrapnel explosions, just more damage right then and there, is more beneficial in my personal opinion. So then we're going to go down to munitions training. Now this is all about getting extra damage. So you're going to go first 3. Now, weapon or power. I personally went with power to give flak cannon a little bit extra oomph, plus the extra power cell. And then I went with weapon efficiency. Now this build, you don't need anything melee. Forget about melee on this build. That's why the Juggernaut Shield, I feel like it's not even a point to have it on this build. So you're going to go with weapon efficiency. And then later on, after Turbocharge 6, if for some reason you have 6, I don't know, I can't math right now, but Precision for rank 6 bottom on munitions training is what you would go with. And then we're going to go Ariel Assault. Ariel Assault on both builds is the first thing you need to max out. You're going to go first 3, then top, top, and top. On the next build, it's going to be a little bit different, but I'll go into that later in that video. So you're going to go with hover duration. You need to be in the air as long as you possibly can. You need to forget about max health and shields. This is where it's going to be good. Then you're going to get damage resistance while you're in the air and evading in the air, or just evading in general. And then you're going to go aerial engagement. For every kill you're going to get extra airborne time, and that's really helpful for when you're firing at groups of targets. it is just amazing. So that's all I really have to say about the skill guides. So we're about to jump right into gameplay, and I'm going to show you why this build is so fucking fun to use. Oh my god, it is it is absolutely insane, guys. I didn't even know he had the Nalden, and then once I started using it, the Nalden, it does not do that much damage. For people who don't, it is an N7 weapon, and it's at 546. It is a sniper, which is kind of weird, but it shoots explosive rounds. How fucking awesome is that? And you guys are going to see why this build is named the Bomber. It's basically going to turn you into a fucking AC-130. So guys, let's get right into the gameplay, and I'll show off this build. Alright guys, so here we are with the build. Like I said, it's basically turning you into an AC-130. The Nalden, while it doesn't do that much damage, it's just a fucking blast to use. I love that thing, and you know, it's not doing a great amount of damage, but I feel like it does do more damage to armored targets. I don't know if it says it on the weapon sheet or not. I don't believe it does, but you can definitely tell it doesn't do much to shields. So when you're going up against shielded enemies, you know, when you're fighting the Remnant or Anointed, Ket, Sharpshooters, anything with shields, it's not going to really do much. Then at that point you want to pull out the Falcon. But as you can see right here, I mean, it's just devastating to groups of enemies, especially when they're just red health. And even armored, you know, over a distance, it does have splash damage. It has an area of effect, but whenever they're in cover and you're shooting the cover in front of them, you're not gonna hit them. I've noticed that is a problem. But with this build, you want to be careful, because as you'll see a couple times throughout this gameplay, you will fall off the map a couple times. I'm kind of really bad at doing that, but it's all worth it whenever you're flying around blowing everything up on the map. Now, in this gameplay right here, you're wondering, why the fuck are there so many explosions? This is ridiculous. Well, actually, everyone on my team right now has the Nalden, so that's kind of why there's so much going on. Obviously, you know, you're not going to get a lot of games like that, but you know, we're just taking out everything. There's explosions everywhere. I had a couple times when my game would freeze for a second, as you saw at the very beginning of the gameplay. So I haven't experienced any real problems with it, but it's just that kind of stutter. It's like, wow, what is going on? But it's a blast to use this build, guys. It might not be the best, because like I said, I'm gonna have another build guide for strictly just using an AR and mopping up targets on the ground from the air using an AR and turbocharge. But this build is all about explosive damage and power damage with flak cannon. So it's, in my opinion, it's a lot more fun to use, but it might not be as effective as the other one. But I had a blast using it, especially whenever you're going up against a Hydra. Like right now, you're gonna see that I'm doing some moderate damage. I'm actually the only one firing at it right now. And especially whenever I jump up in the air and I turn on turbocharge, I'm just going to start wailing at it. I'm not going to kill it, obviously, but if I kept with it and I followed him, I put in some serious damage on him. That flak cannon does some nice damage. And you can fall out of the air and dodge those rockets. It's really nice. Now, as I'm recording right now, patch 1.05 just came out, so there's going to be a little bit of differences within this build and all of my other build guides, but I'm going to try and accommodate that for, I'm going to talk about any changes within the builds with the new multiplayer balances, but I already have gameplay for this build and two other builds, so I'm going to have to go ahead and get those out. But I will talk about the changes with the patch notes, if it will affect the build. It really shouldn't, especially this one. I don't really think it'll affect any of them, honestly, because you know, it's the changes, I don't know, there's some good, some bad, but they don't really change any of how my builds operate, at least in my opinion. But we'll get back to the build. Now, as you're going to see, I'm not going to use Incinerate a whole lot within the gameplay, because really I don't feel like it's that effective. Well, at least on this build. There's a couple times, you know, whenever you run up on an armored target or a Hydra Fiend or a Destroyer, after you knock its shield down, you want to hit it with Incinerate, because this is going to add up more damage. Plus, you can get some really nice combos when using Incinerate, but really that's all it's for, at least in my eyes. But what this build is all about is staying in the air as long as you can and doing as much damage from the air with explosions. It's a crowd control build because it can just, every time you shoot someone with the Nalden, it's going to stagger them. So that's another really nice thing about the weapon. You're going to get a little bit of stagger. That's really with all the explosives, especially with the Falcon as well. So you're going to be staggering everyone as you're shooting, and that's really helpful when you're firing in groups of enemies, especially whenever they cluster up on those little rooftop bunkers. They're going to get staggered, and you can just keep firing and firing, and they really can't do anything about it, which is what makes it so cool. But I think the highlight of this build is if you're the only Turian Havoc Trooper or anyone using a Nalden or a explosive build, you're just flying around the map blowing everything up, and it's like everyone's looking at you like, wow, that was really cool, because it's definitely something to see. I never really seen anyone using the Nalden, and I don't have it on my account, but T-Boss has it, and that's I started using it. I was like, my God, it is a great weapon to use. At least in my opinion, I had a lot of fun using it when I was playing. But the Falcon, you know, whenever you need to swap weapons, the Falcon is another really great weapon to have with you because it's just more explosive damage, and the Falcon does less damage than the Nalden, but I don't know why, I just feel like it does more. I don't know why I feel that way, but I do. I don't know what the deal about it is, you know, because there are still some weapon balances that aren't fixed out yet, so maybe it's kind of glitched up or something, but overall the two weapons really complement each other well, and you know you always got to dance, especially when the whole crew is rocking the Nalden. Everyone's like, man, this is going to be ridiculous, and as you're going to see, it is just ridiculous. I found that this build works the best on Firebase Sandstorm and Firebase Iceberg. I don't know what it's called, the icy one that we were just on. Those two maps, I feel like it works really best on those. Whenever you're playing on Firebase Zero, it's a little wonky because the map doesn't let you fly around as well as these maps. Now, the spawn area on Firebase Zero, there's a lot of open area, but then that long corridor that people tend to camp in that corner, it's kind of hard to do that with any of the Turian Havoc Trooper builds. It gets kind of difficult at that point, but the other maps, man, I'm drawing a blank on the names, but I feel like for this build and really anything for the aerial engagement, Turian Havoc Trooper, Firebase Sandstorm, and the Iceberg map is probably the best map for this build. It's where it really shines because you have a lot of open ground that you can just fly over and just rain hell on everything below you. And it is just a glorious sight to see, whether you're using it or you're watching someone else use it. But like I said, you know, this build is all about staying in the air as long as you possibly can and doing as much damage from the air as you can. I think that's what really sets the Turian Havoc Trooper apart and making it so special is because of its aerial assault passive, being able to stay up in the air and dealing extra damage and damage resistance while you're in the air. That's what I found really effective with her, and for some people that I've talked to when I'm in the game and they're building her, they don't really even go airborne a lot, which is really confusing to me because that's her passive ability. That's what she's meant to do, so I don't see why you would play as the Havoc Trooper if you're not going to use her passive. I mean, there's other characters who have turbocharge. Why wouldn't you just use those if you don't care about going airborne? That's at least my opinion on it, but you know, in the other build you'll see another reason why I feel that way, but you know, this is really how I feel about it, guys. So that's really all I have to say about the build. It is a very fun build. It's crazy. It's explosive, to say the least. So yeah, I definitely recommend trying it out if you have character respecs. You know, just play with it, and let me know down in the comments how it works for you. But yeah, guys, like I said in the last video, down in the description I have our Patreon account linked. Go check that out if you would like to support our channel. We got some rewards coming in. We're wanting to set up game nights with other players wanting to come in and discuss what we're going to do with the channel and just make new friends along the process. You know, we're a new channel. We're not used to having to do all of this. It's a learning experience for us, guys, and we're just wanting to get out there and see what we got to do and to make the best content we can for you guys. So, you know, as always, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one, guys.